So you're thinking about moving to Hoboken, New Jersey? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today, because we're going to be talking about the location of Hoboken, where it's located, some of the top attractions in Hoboken, as well as, what is the distance like to the airport? What is the distance like to the city? What is the distance like to other really known areas that a lot of people tend to visit? So I think you're gonna get a really good idea in this video where it's located and some close by locations like waterfronts, and that way you can get a really good idea if it makes sense for you or not. And towards the end, I'm gonna share with you something that a lot of people that are looking to move to Hoboken are not really sure of. So stay tuned and let's get after it right now. Hey, if you're new to the channel and you want to know everything there is about living in Hoboken, New Jersey and the surrounding areas, well, hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you're the first to know about the current market living in North New Jersey. And for those that don't know, this is Seth with the Living in North New Jersey team, and we get calls, emails, text messages every day from people just like you looking to make a move to North New Jersey, and we absolutely love it. So whether it's one day later or 100 days later, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, and we'd be happy to help you make that smooth move to North New Jersey. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about something that a lot of people are very curious about. A lot of people heard about Hoboken. A lot of people from New York City, for example, could see Hoboken. But question is, what is the convenience like? What is the proximity to, or the distance, to the nearby train or the nearby path, or, how is it like to jump on a ferry and get to the city? And if I do want to go to the suburbs, or if you work in the suburbs, what does that commute look like? Do I need a car? And all those things we're going to be talking about today. And we're going to also jump on Google Maps. That way you can see it yourself to really get a good idea. All right, let's jump onto our computer and really talk about all the things that we need to know about Hoboken, whether it's from transportation, the downtown district, the restaurants, the cafes. What are the schools like in Hoboken? And the population, what it's like to potentially own a home, and the proximity to locations like New York City, as well as other areas, recreational parks, all of that right now. Let's get started in Google Maps. All right, so we're looking at Hoboken right now on Google Maps, and as you can see, Hoboken is located right in between Weehawken and Jersey City. And it's looking right across the Hudson River to New York City, right between where Lower Manhattan and Midtown of Manhattan is. Hoboken, generally speaking, is a very small city in comparison to most cities in New Jersey, but it is one of the highly densely populated cities as well. So this is the kind of the border of Hoboken, as you can see, and it's not that big. It's really not that big of a city, and there's only about 59,000 residents in Hoboken in total as of about 2023. There's been a growth about 10% year over year or so. It was only about 55,000 or so last year, and it's growing very slowly and steadily, especially because there isn't a whole ton of space in it, and there is some new construction going on, but not a whole lot because of how limited the space in Hoboken is, generally speaking. So let's get started with one of the most important things that comes to most people's mind when they're thinking about making the move to Hoboken, and that's going to be transportation. So transportation is one of the most talked about things as well, and there's really several different kinds of transportation that you could use to really get to the city or elsewhere, but mainly we'll be talking about New York City and how you can get there. And there's really three main options, and that's going to be one, going by the ferry, which is the fastest option, a little more costlier, but it is the fastest. Second being the path, A lot of people prefer the path because of how fast it is, how quick and convenient it is, and most of the time it drops you off to where it might be convenient for you as well. And number 3 is going to be buses, and buses are, every single transportation has a pro and a con to it, but the buses are very easy to kind of jump on and kind of go where you need to go, and there's many bus stops available in Hoboken, so that's going to be one of the pros to that. Another part of buses is you might potentially get stuck in traffic, or it might be taking a little longer than a path or ferry would, because you're joining the traffic at the end of the day, rather than jumping on a path or the ferry, where you can easily get to the city very quickly. So that's something you might need to experiment on, or it might be something that you might need to chat about with somebody that is looking, or it might be something that you might need to kind of really think through, depending on what part of Hoboken you want to live, and also depends on what part of New York City that you work or study in. So that's something to consider as well. So in terms of transportation, those are the 3 primary ways on really transporting in Hoboken to the city. And the 4th really option that most people tend to not use for New York City is going to be driving yourself. And there's several reasons for this. Parking is a pain in New York City. A lot of people don't even have a car at Hoboken, so that might be one reason why they're not traveling with a car. And then that's really the main reasons. The parking in New York City is very tough, and you need to really go into traffic every single day yourself if you are planning to drive, unless you're carpooling, which is a different story, right? So let's move on to what the downtown district of Hoboken is like. Let's see, so there's about 9,000 people in Hoboken, and you're going to see a good fraction of this people in the downtown district, because lots of people walk in Hoboken everywhere that they need to go. There's a lot of drivers as well, but more people that are walking rather than driving for sure. So the main part of the downtown of Hoboken is going to be on Washington Street, closer to the waterfront, where most of the hustle and bustle noise is. And that Washington Street goes from the bottom section, the south of Hoboken, all the way up to the north of Hoboken, closer to 14th Street, which is considered as Uptown Hoboken. And you're going to see hundreds of cafes, restaurants, shops all over Hoboken, but most of them are also going to be in the downtown district, where most people are walking around, and lots of tourism also happens closer to the waterfront, and that's where people kind of utilize the cafes and shops as well, because they might be at the pier or near the water, or maybe they're coming back from work and they want to grab a coffee. That's really the way to look at it, as to why it's so packed in this area. So yeah, that's pretty much the downtown area of Hoboken. And you can see there's lots of different restaurants nearby, and these are going to be the main parks right next to it. And then we have Stevens, which is one of the top colleges in the US, where it's also located in Hoboken, right by the waterfront. And we have Stevens Park, Sinatra Park, Pier C Park. We actually go and visit Pier C Park, where most of the tourism and really nice park is located, in our full vlog tour video. So check that out if you do get a chance, because that area is absolutely amazing. And I personally don't live in Hoboken, but I always go there just to have a good time, walk with friends, get some coffee, and it's always a good time around there. That's pretty much it in terms of downtown. Let's dive into some of these restaurants that you're seeing on the screen, some of the cafes. And let me tell you, most of the restaurants and cafes are going to be highly rated. They're going to be, not some, random coffee shop or restaurants that you want to take a 50-50 chance with. It might be good, might not be good. Most of the cases, they're going to be amazing. They're gonna taste, the food there is gonna taste really good. The coffee is gonna be top tier coffee. It's just really how it is in Hoboken. That's one of the top perks in living in Hoboken. Everything is there for a reason, and everything is there for probably a long time as well. It's really not easy to thrive as a business, as a restaurant owner or a coffee shop owner in Hoboken, because cost of living, cost of business, cost of rental, or cost of just general business expenses are not that low in comparison to the suburbs in New Jersey. So that's pretty much one of the main reasons. Like, you need to have a good customer service, good products in Hoboken to really make it out there. So that's why whenever we click on any kind of restaurant or cafe, you're probably going to see a lot of reviews as well as high ratings. 4.4 Elizen Cafe, bagel shop. This has over 660 reviews, 3.9. That's pretty good. Mamoun's Falafel. This place is one of the top restaurants. I heard, I'm still gonna visit this place. It's definitely on my list. But Mamoun's Falafel, close to 2,500 reviews, almost 4.5 star rating, which is really, really good. And whatever you really put your pointer on Google Maps, you're probably gonna see a lot of reviews as well as good reviews, which is absolutely amazing if you're planning to live here. And if you're not planning to live here, it's always good to come down, visit, and have a good time in any of these places, right? So we went over some of the kind of restaurants. If we were to go over a lot of these, it'll probably be a few hours in this video, but we're not going to do that. But as you can see, most of Hoboken is very easily accessible, really by car, or most people prefer walking. We actually, I actually did this calculation not too long ago, where the bottom section of Hoboken all the way to the top, you can walk in less than 30 minutes. It's only about 1.5 miles from the bottom section of Hoboken to the top, which is like nothing, because if that means you can access to most of the stores and cafes in Hoboken with less than a 30-minute walk, even if it was at the other end of Hoboken. So if you are living somewhere in the bottom section here and you want to go to the Acme Market here, probably going to be a 10-minute walk, so that's not bad at all. So you don't always need a car, but you can have a car, because it's not that easy if you don't have parking, because street parking could be tough. But if you are willing to pay for the garages or the monthly parking, which tends to be between $250 and $350 a month, well, that's something you could do as well. Especially if you tend to get out of Hoboken and drive anywhere in the suburbs, then you might need a car. But if you're somebody that just wants to kind of live in Hoboken and not really go elsewhere except for the city, well, then you might not need it. But it's obviously definitely something that's preference based rather than something that could just be said like that, right? So let's talk a little about the recreational parks, because recreational parks in Hoboken, there's a lot of them, which is amazing, because you don't find as many recreational parks in Manhattan, or even in some suburbs. We don't see so many recreational parks that are designed for people that live there, whether it's a dog park, whether it's a walking area, playground for kids, things like that. Let's zoom in here and let's see what the recreational parks kind of look like. So all this greenery that you're seeing is a park for the most part, and let's go over the top parks first, where there are going to be a lot of people, and it's large and really, really nice parks. And we actually go to some of these in our full vlog tour, so check that out if you want to see what it really looks like. So there's parks by the pier here that kind of look out to Manhattan, which is absolutely amazing. Definitely recommend you check it out, even if you don't plan on living in Hoboken. But if you are living in Hoboken, that's going to be one of the top highlights, I would say, about living there. The views itself is absolutely incredible. So Sinatra Park right here. We have Pier C Park over here. That's where we go in the video. And we have, let's zoom in a little more to get a better looking idea. So this is a Pier A Park, Hoboken waterfront. And the waterfront, you get views from the bottom section all the way to the top, really. There's really nothing covering the view. Elysian Park, we also visit there in our video. So we have JFK Stadium here, Columbus Park. Let's see, what I was looking for was Church Square Park. This is one of the top parks, where there's a dog park inside, there's a toddler playground, there's basketball courts, farmers market right next to it, firemen's monuments, and a lot of these parks have some history involved in it, which is really cool. And none of them are kind of like very, very small parks either. You can have walk in there, things like that. But most people, unless you're living somewhere and you want to just go out to have a real quick walk, most people prefer the waterfront, and that's obviously because of the views. The coffee shops nearby, people could just stop, grab a coffee, and walk around there with a family or friend, which is really nice to kind of enjoy. So let's dive a little more deeper into some of the shops and department stores that you might be interested in Hoboken, because not everything is about cafes and restaurants, right? So most of the people, since CVS, Acme, and should be a ShopRite right around here as well, is right in the middle of Hoboken. It's pretty easily accessible to most people. So we have ShopRites here. We have so that is relatively close to most of the residents, I would say. ShopRite over here. We have a Trader Joe's over here in the upper town of Hoboken, Acme Market Dead Center in Hoboken in the middle of the town. And on the bottom section, let's check out the bottom section. We have bakeries, we have a soda outlet, beer outlets, car wash over here. This place tends to get packed, as we have an office right by this car wash. I pass by it every single week almost. And then church over here. There's pizza shops all around, cafes. But let's try to see where the rest of the department stores are, as there isn't a ton of, but there is a lot where you can get things that you need very easily from those department stores. We have a storage space here if that's something that you need, as apartments are not massive like in the suburbs compared to what you're paying for. So sometimes storage is something you might need as an additional thing. So there's a bunch more department stores, clothing stores towards the downtown section of Hoboken on Washington Street, but obviously these are not the big brand names, so it might catch you off guard, but definitely worth visiting to see, if it's something that you might like, if it's something that you might, visit and shop in at a regular basis. So check these out on Washington Street, as you're probably gonna find most of the things that you need on Washington Street, except for larger supermarkets like Acme and ShopRite. So check out Washington Street whenever you get a chance, either in person or in our video, because Washington Street is going to be the heart of Hoboken. So let's zoom a little out here and let's kind of look at where Hoboken is not only located, but what is it surrounded by as well. So it's close to the heights of Jersey City, which is a really nice part of Jersey City, closer to Hoboken, and then downtown is on the southern section, or towards the south side of Hoboken. Whereas the downtown, more like New York City, even more than Hoboken, believe it or not. We actually visit Jersey City downtown as well, so check out our video on that one. And it's a great place to do more shopping if that's something you need, because there's more stores. We have Macy's in here. We're not going to really dive too deep into this part of Jersey City because, we're going to make this video kind of more specific to Hoboken for those that are interested in Hoboken. But if you do need to kind of jump onto a bus, or if you have a car, downtown section of Jersey City is a great place to do, more shopping. Macy's, movie theaters, Home Depot, and all those larger stores that you might potentially need here and there, rather than a regular basis, right? And let's see, so we have Jersey City that's surrounding that part, downtown section, the heights right behind Hoboken, and then Weehawken up top. Weehawken is a more, also like an urban, city, but probably not going to have as many stores and shops that you might need, because most of those are probably going to be located in Hoboken anyway, or downtown part of Jersey City. But this is Weehawken on this part. Really nice park here as well, another recreational center. But Hoboken, I would say, has most of everything that you need when it comes to views and parks already. So you're probably not missing out on anything that's outside of Hoboken in terms of that. So yeah, when we zoom out, we can see how small Hoboken is in really New Jersey overall. It's densely packed, that's one thing for sure. One of the more densely packed cities, especially just because it's really close to New York City, the largest World Trade Center, right? But that's pretty much sums it up in terms of the geographic location and proximity to really the areas that most people need, like New York City. And yeah, if you are kind of curious of how long it'll take for you to go into the suburbs, well, Hoboken to Secaucus right here probably will take about 15-20 minutes with car because of the amount of traffic there is to get out of Secaucus. But over here on the suburb section, which most people don't really feel the need to visit to unless you have family, friends, or you work in the suburbs of New Jersey, it's about 30 minutes or so from the suburbs here in New Jersey. So that's something really not to worry about. So 30 minutes from here, from Hoboken to the suburbs, Little Falls, Cedar Grove, this part of the area. And same goes for New York City, where if you want to drive to New York City, probably around 15-20 minutes by car if there is really light traffic. By ferry it's only 8 minutes. By bus takes about 15-20 minutes, 25 minutes if there's a bit of traffic. And path is also very fast, usually in 10 to 15 minutes you can be in the city. And then most people tend to kind of jump onto the subway and really go where they need to go. I guess the ideal thing is trying to get as close to it as possible, or close to that section of New York as possible. And yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of that. Let's move on to the population of Hoboken, what kind of the demographic is in Hoboken, and then we'll go and see other parts. And we'll also talk about other things like kind of the schooling system and Zillow listings that are in Hoboken right now too. Alright, so we can really see here in terms of the population, there's about 59,000 people that live in Hoboken right now, and this is about a 14% increase since 2020. The unemployment rate is only 4.2%, so most people are employed, especially whether they are employed in New York City, in Hoboken, or in New Jersey. The median income in Hoboken is about 106,000, so high income. Like we said, cost of living is high. In our pros and cons video, that's one of the things that we talked about, but the median income is high as well. So it only makes sense for there to be a higher cost of living because of higher opportunity and just really a higher income overall in that area. The median home price in Hoboken is about $770,000, and most of them, obviously, when I say home, they're apartments or condos, townhouses, homes that look like that. and the median age seems like it's 31.8. So in Hoboken, for the most part, we're seeing a lot of people that after they finish college, maybe they want to relocate to Hoboken, a more urban lifestyle, if they just want to prefer that, or they want Hoboken because it's cheaper to live there and kind of work in New York City. So more so, we see that a lot of people are towards their end 20s, mid to end 20s, or 30s and 40s, because a lot of people, once they get in Hoboken, they just love to live there for as long as possible until they get tired of it. And the reason why some people get tired of it after 10, 20, 25 years is because maybe they're raising a family, they want less noise, they want less traffic, and maybe they don't need to work to the city anymore, where they might have a job transfer or a relocation or working hybrid, which is definitely another option people look towards to, if they are looking to get away from the noise after being there for so long, right? So the comfort index is 8.6 during the summer, 5.5 during winter. This is one other thing that we talk about in our pros and cons video. Definitely check that out, where summer could be humid, but overall the weather is not bad at all. And winter, it gets really, really cold. You're kind of living the extremes to both seasons when it comes to just living in New Jersey in general. So the cost of living is about 60.8% higher than other states in the US on average. But if we kind of look at the median income and see what percentage that is higher in comparison to many other states on average in the US, it's probably around 50 to 60% higher as well. So that kind of comes back to what we were talking about: more opportunity, higher income, higher cost of living is also the case. So let's look at some of these highlights as well really quickly. So we went over the cost of living, economy, weather as well. September, June, May are the most pleasant months in Hoboken because it's not very humid, it's not really hot or cold. While January and February are the least comfortable months because it's usually the coldest times of the month in New Jersey here. It tells some information about voting, population, about 59,000 people. Transportation on average is about 39 minutes, so this includes all the people that are driving and all the people from different kinds of transportations that are involved. But like we said, it can vary from walking to driving to going on a ferry, right? So that could be from 5 to 30, 40, 50 minutes, depending on the hour of the day as well. Real estate median home cost, we went over the 770,000. Home appreciation the last 10 years has been about 10%. So schools, Hoboken public schools spend about $33,000 per student. The average school expenditure in the US is $12,300, and there are about 9.9 students per teacher in Hoboken, which is really, really solid in terms of the US average. That's almost 3 times more spent on each student in Hoboken than the US average. So if that's something that's important to you, whether it's now or in the future for your children, well, Hoboken has one of the top schools, and really New Jersey has one of the top schools in the US in comparison to many, many other states out there. So let's jump, while we're talking about schools, let's talk about what the schooling kind of looks like. So there's a couple different options here. There's charter schools, private schools, and public schools. And when it comes to public schools, obviously that's going to be free of charge. Charter schools tend to have a waiting list, and the private schools are also an option, but has a cost associated to it. So my suggestion would be, if private school is not kind of a primary focus on your minds, moving to an area where the public school is high is probably the best bet to go, because the schools are solid in Hoboken. Sometimes these points from greatschools.org don't reflect the actuality of the school, so it's best to kind of tour the school, really get a good idea of the students, what the school environment looks like, and things like that. But anywhere that has a 7 is a high rated school. This is a pointing system from 1 to 10. 7 is usually a really, really good indication of the overall score of the school. Alright, so that's a little about schooling. Now let's jump into Zillow and really see what Zillow has to say about the available listings there are. So there's currently about 92 listings that are available in Hoboken, and most of them are going to be over $1 million because the average home price is $770,000. So let's kind of zoom in here and really get a good idea of what these homes look like that are listed. So one thing I like to do in these videos is see what the highest price listing in each city that we're doing a quick map tour looks like. So it seems like the highest one right now is 5.4 million on Hudson Street. It's actually funny because we go to Hudson Street on one of our videos here. The apartments and condos there are absolutely phenomenal. They're amazing. Let's get a better look as to what it looks like so we can see why it's 5.4 million. So there's 2,000 square feet, 2 garage spaces included. This is a single family residence, so it looks like it's a condo style home. It's a brownstone, which is originally constructed in 1880. So let's look at some of those pictures here. Lots of character and architecture involved, and it seems like the building itself might have an elevator here. Yep, so this elevator might be part of the home itself, which is really, really cool. probably not going to see this a lot. It has their own gym that they kind of built in here. It looks really, really nice overall. So most of these apartments, you're going to see either a lot of modern design and luxury involved, or that and a combination of architecture and history in the apartments. And it seems like this has a rooftop with a nice view. So this is the 2 garage spaces that are included. And let's see, let's keep looking here. So this one has been on the market for almost 3 months. Seems like they also did a price cut of $300,000 pretty recently. And yeah, I mean, 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms. This is kind of a grand example of what the Hoboken style is like in terms of the size, as well as what you could get for it if you go up to 5.4 million. And if that's something you are looking at, that's something we can definitely help with as well. But looking at these apartments, generally speaking, they're usually closer to 800,000. Going from 600,000 on low end. So this 315,000. I'm actually curious what this looks like. So yeah, really, really small apartment, very, very outdated as well, and it seems like this is a studio. So this is what a 315,000 apartment could get you in Hoboken, and 5.4 million as well. Hopefully you guys found some value in this video. We went over kind of what Hoboken looks like on the map, proximity to New York City, the different kinds of transportation options, what the downtown looks like, the restaurants, cafes, the different parts of Hoboken, the recreational areas. So if you did find any value in this video, give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button to know more about North New Jersey, as we release videos every single week in North New Jersey. Check out our other videos that has to do with Hoboken and the surrounding areas, as we go in person and visit some properties. We visit kind of some really nice areas as well. And if you are interested in moving to Hoboken or the surrounding area, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, and we'd be happy to see if we could be a good fit together, or maybe we can see and help you navigate through that process so you can make a smooth move to North New Jersey. And that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.